Well, welcome to the live stream. It is the day after Christmas, and I have to admit, I did not post a video yesterday, and I went through it, but I'm okay. I went through the process. I'm still counting it as 99-day YouTube challenge because yesterday was Christmas. And originally, I intended to do it on Christmas, but then I thought, literally everything in the world is closed. Maybe not a couple grocery stores or I don't know, honestly, like everything's closed. CVS near my house may have been open. And we were just having such a great family day, and I just couldn't get myself to cut away, come here, or shoot some crap video at my house. It just didn't make any good sense to me. And honestly, like I know what the traffic is on these live streams now, and it's zippy. So I spent the day with my family, really committed to that. And that's the topic of today. So I wanted to cover how important your foundation is for you to accomplish anything in life. When I was a young man, I got to a point where I was ready to settle in and be with someone long term. I had been doing the typical 20s and I lived in Vegas, like I shared previously, was having a wonderful time. I had already gotten my degree, and I had reached a point where I thought, you know what, I'm kind of good with all of this. I really want to settle in and be a husband and a father. Really, that's it. Like I really wanted to be a family man. And prior to that moment, hold on, I'm going to drink a little coffee. Prior to that moment, I was not ready for that at all. In fact, any reference to a family area, not my interest, obviously, being someone who chose Vegas. But I moved to Denver, and I really started to build up that interest. And I manifested literally being a family man one day. And I was talking to my family about how that happened, because I was reading a book and I was really learning about the importance of how to be in a solid relationship and the moves that you have to do in order to keep that relationship as critical, as solid as, like I said, it should be. And when I was reading that, I was realizing, no, I have the capabilities to pull this off really successfully, and I want it. Like combination with I can do it and I want it. And now I was reading about the techniques you can use to actually be good at it. And then I thought, okay, I'm ready. And then it happened. I met a woman and she already had a son. And I was a family man real fast. And then it grew from there. And I have 3 kids. And yesterday marks our 26th Christmas together, my wife and I. And we had our 3 adult children and their 3 significant others at that Christmas table. And it couldn't have been better. My oldest just got married, so him and his wife were in from Charleston. My daughter and her boyfriend were there, and my son and his girlfriend were there. My son is moving to Vegas. I mentioned that previously. He'll be leaving with his girlfriend in early January. So the 8 of us were together, and I reflect on the reality that it's going to be challenging for all 8 of us to be together, in the future. It's not, certainly we're going to have plenty of those times, but my point is it will be challenging. But it was just that kind of day that I wanted to embrace, all 8 of us, let's really have a time together. And the importance of stabilizing that foundation, more coffee, is what I want you, the viewer, to think about. It may not be you wanting to be a family man. That's not what I'm suggesting. But your foundation is you. Focus on making sure that your foundation, whether it's physical health, mental health, financial health, whatever you need to work on, is where you focus on before coming up with these big goals that we're going to be talking a lot about here. Stephen Covey, the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I believe his term for this was called sharpen the saw, where you're always working on those foundational things consistently. In addition, of course, you're setting these other goals around work and other areas. But if you're not sharpening that saw, if you're not keeping your physical health in order, of course, your financial health, because without that capability, how are you going to even get by? Unfortunately, the reality is financial health is way up there. It's not necessarily part of the sharpen the saw thing, but mental health, emotional health, having confidence in what you're shooting for, having confidence in who you are, the ability to communicate with others, so critical for you to then shoot higher. So foundation is king. And yesterday I was reflecting on the importance of my relationship with my wife and how foundational that is as an example to my children and the people that have entered our lives through their relationships, whether it's friends or in this case, boyfriends, girlfriends, fiancés, wives, etc. Like as people enter our world, they notice, I hope, that my wife and I are really focused on our relationship as critical. Like if not, like if I just did not, if I discounted that relationship, I drink coffee quite quickly because it gets super cold in these open cups. So, and I'm going to do that a little more on these live streams. Maybe they'll go longer because of it, but who cares? So the truth is, if we didn't have that solid relationship, if I discounted my relationship with my wife and prioritized my relationship with my kids, that foundation would not be solid and it would start to come apart because there's no way that's going to work. I mean, there's either you just she resents you, vice versa, etc. Like you got to keep all of those intact. If I prioritized solely her and neglected my children, that foundation would start to come apart. We'd have drama and other issues in the house that are really distracting to your ability to go after those goals. So when I say foundation, it's all of it. Like I have to keep an eye on that relationship with my kids. And that, there's times that it's better than others, but I check in on it. Like I don't know where our relationship is. The one example that I shared was I just was asked to officiate my son's wedding. I never really knew. I mean, I kind of felt good about it, but I never really knew where I was in my relationship with him. And then he asked me to officiate his wedding. I was like, okay, I clearly have done well with him. I'm not now saying, check, I'm done. We continue to work on that relationship, but it's just a pleasure to know where you are valued in that relationship. And so checking in there, of course, I talked about if I neglected my finances, but I focused on my family. Clearly, that would not last long. My wife and my kids would resent that because they can't live a normal life if their dad is not prioritizing keeping their financial house in order. If I was just focused on money all the time, made tons of it, and didn't lift or train or anything and kept my body in working order, my foundation would come apart. Because I obviously would start to develop health problems. I would be incapable of doing things with them. I wouldn't be able to travel the way I do, and I would just start to fall apart. So, and then emotionally is another foundation. Like we can obviously do this exercise on our own, but if I just like busted my ass at the gym, killed it at the workplace, had a great vibe with my wife and kids, but I neglected me. Like I just forgot about me the whole time. I just was so codependent with all of the shit that I forgot about myself. Like that would start to come apart. I'd resent everyone and I would potentially, react in a negative way at some point. So keeping your foundation in mind and making sure it's solid before you go after these big goals is what I'm asking you to think about. That's what I prioritize. And right now I feel pretty good about them in all that space. That's why I was able to take this YouTube challenge on, which is now adding to my foundation. This YouTube challenge is helping me get better at communicating like this, which is a whole novel thing for me to do. And then it's also helping me understand like different moves that I can make from a marketing perspective to build this next thing that I'm going to lean on for the rest of my healthy working days and hopefully become a legacy project for my family. So if I wasn't confident in all the things that we've just talked about, I couldn't take this challenge on, which is involving me coming to this office like literally every day. Yesterday, Christmas Day, was the first time that I haven't been to this office when I'm here in DC since this challenge started. Saturday, Sundays, day in and day out. And today, we're going to go meet for dinner downtown. For an idiot, like I just thought that I'd be able to shoot this video super quick, like the 9-minute goal. It takes a minute to get this set up, get a cup of coffee because I needed it a little bit day after Christmas. It's always tricky to get the live setup. And then this is a 4K live streaming shot with my camera. it's not a smooth transition. I got the thumbnail, etc. This took, I showed up here 2:10 p.m. It's now 2:50. So we're 40 minutes in for a 9-minute video. And, like, it's just that I'm committed to this. I'm willing to do it. I'm not going to neglect it. It's definitely requiring me to be a little distracted from them on a week that maybe I used to be just all about them. Like, what can we do now? Maybe we can play a game together, whatever. Like, they know I'm committed to this, so I'm able to, like, push that aside a little bit, just a little bit, and then go over here. Everyone knows what I'm doing, and the foundation is solid, so therefore I can go after this new goal. And then it just keeps building and building from there. So that's the message of today. I'm going to tease this out a little bit and see where maybe I can take it into a bigger video, but maybe not. Maybe this is just good for a little short form. I talked about growth mindset. That's definitely going to be a bigger video. Now I can't remember. I think workflow. Okay, so I talked about growth mindset a few days ago, then workflow. Now this foundational thing. Workflow is definitely a long form video. And when I say long form, I'm talking like, my edited 15-20 minutes, not these live one-shot deals. So we'll play around. I'm just gonna keep thinking through some ideas. I do have a new logo solidly completed now. Very excited about that. I'll post that finally on my YouTube channel. Just part of my logo. You'll see it. Thanks a lot. Talk tomorrow.